Hello. I think it's been a week since the last video, but today something kind of dawned on me to do with almost like our how we think, how we are as sort of human beings amongst all the other sort of process I've spoken about previously. This is almost about progress and change. Sorry, to get to the point. And that almost we have this fear of change, and that change actually can be something quite scary and daunting. But yeah, progress is something else we almost don't get enough of. So, for example, if you run like a 10-minute mile, you want to run a 9-minute mile, and if you've run a 9-minute mile, you want to run an 8-minute mile. If you've got a bike, you almost want to progress to a car, and it's like, and how we almost want to sort of move forward, not necessarily the bike and the car thing. Some people like to just ride a bike, but how we almost want to sort of sometimes something isn't enough in today's society. It's that we're kind of measuring ourselves to the people that have that little bit more, and then it's like and that's great. Actually, it means progress, it means moving forwards, it means having aims and goals. But I think sometimes, and I'm talking from my own experience here, it's almost like rather than accepting myself in the now, I'm kind of trying to accept myself in the future, and almost where I feel like I need to be. And that's almost not right. So I'm not moving forwards in some aspects in my life because I'm not accepting the now and being okay with the now. And I've spoken about mindfulness in the past, and obviously these videos and me personally, it's almost about my personal struggles and where I am, and like I've got all these tools and these necessary sort of agents really to kind of work through these daily fights, and it was just that I was just sitting there reading, and I just thought to myself, hang on a minute, I'm almost so obsessed in trying to formulate this future and the now is almost not being enough. Well, if, say, for example, within my new venture I have one client, well I'll progress with that one client till I have a second client, and maybe till I have a third, and if something's not quite, and if I'm not progressing, then just ask myself why and what I could do to change, and am I doing everything in my power to move forward with what I want to move forward in. And I think personally, I'm always I'm not always aiming. I'm not always kind of looking at the future self, but I've got this sort of tunnel vision, and call it being a Capricorn or what. And I like to refer to star signs because personally, that's what myself believe is, and as me as a person as well. I can be quite tunnel vision sometimes, and I just see the end goal, and I do it in everything. I can do it in relationships, I can do it in work, I can do it in exercise. It's not enough, for example, that I'm exercising the way I am. I want to be there. When I ran, I remember running a 10k. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe I'd ran 6 miles. 6 miles? Who the fuck runs 6 miles? It was like my head just blew when my friend asked me to do that years ago, and I'd done it after a heavy weekend, and I couldn't quite believe my head when I finished it. Absolutely exhausted. I cut to now when I've ran probably, I think about 6, 7, maybe 8. I'm looking at the medal. 8.5 marathons. I've ran a marathon, and see, nothing was ever enough. But I was like, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to move forward. So I suppose you can see that as a negative or positive. Either nothing's ever enough, or I just want to move forward in life. But then I also have this thing, and it's like a fear of change. And as people, we're like creatures of habit, aren't we? We're like, right, we know what we know, we're doing what we're doing, the routine works, we've got this formula that's actually got us to this point where actually we're okay. Like I'm okay, like, my mortgage is paid, I've got a nice place, I've got a nice car. In my head I made it. But then why is it not enough? As a kid, I've got more than I ever dreamt of. I've done more than I ever dreamt of. I've been more places than I ever dreamt of. And funnily enough, I was sitting in bed and I was 2 seconds away from confirming to just book a flight to Barcelona. And it was like, why not? Why not? It's there, I want to. But no, it was like, I think I was just it was not enough just going for a drive or going for a walk or just not having weekend plans. It was not enough just not having weekend plans, and yet I'm not relaxing enough and getting enough done over the weekend. And I think sometimes I just needed. I've not just sometimes, but I just sat there and I just needed to just be with myself for a moment and just be okay with what I had and actually stay, make other plans a bit more closer to home, a bit cheaper, to be honest. Sorry, but I do digress. But yeah, the point being, like, I also have this massive fear of change, and that actually I'm so okay with the now sometimes, but then I've got this future goal that all these steps in between. I'm not jumping on. I'm not jumping on these stepping stones. I know I've spoken to people in the past that like always have this vision, and then they're there, and then they just want to be at the end, and that's whether it's like marriage or this or that. It's like, but you have to work very slowly to get to things, and just if you're in the now but plan for the future, you're still in the now, so to speak. This might sound quite waffly. Well, it sounds quite waffly to me, but then feedback in the past have said actually it makes sense. But so through this fear of change, I'm almost not pushing forward for what I want to do, because I'm like, who am I to be feeling like I should be hitting this point? And that's my own ego. I'm fighting my own ego there. And this is the thing, you have two voices. You have your ego, which is and this is from quite a spiritual perspective, but I think anyone can relate to this. You have your ego, which is it's this loud voice. It's your voice in effect. It's just going, no, yes, yeah, and it's just quite extreme. But then you have this feeling. I mean, I think I've read something the other day, and it was like you have nerve endings within your gut, and this obviously it's your gut instinct, but this feeling is almost what your intuition is, what you need to follow, which is it's almost the right direction, the right way of going. Your ego will fight you on all sorts, and your ego, in effect, your ego is trying to protect you, it's trying to go, no, yes, but then sometimes I think my ego's pushed me into the wrong direction sometimes, and made me do some right crazy things, because I'm like, yeah, that's what, hence Barcelona, because I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go. Then logically I was like, I've got that on Tuesday, I could do that, I need to be doing that, and that's where my my softer voice, my intuition was telling me no, and logic, I suppose. But yeah, so I think like what we have, so the point being, so what I'm trying to say is almost like sometimes we get in that mindset of what we have now is not enough, what we've done now is not enough, whether it's achievements, goals, money, cars, but then this fear of change almost stops you from reaching your final goal. So it's like, where do you win? Where do you win? And that is quite an internal battle, I think I very much have been having, and it's helped me just saying this out loud, and this is why I do this, because I've been sitting there thinking, why aren't I going where I want to go? But then, why is nothing ever enough? And there it is. And I think that all boils down to just not respecting the now, not being okay with what I have now, to then make me sit and then plan for the plan for the future in the present. Sorry, I didn't mean to keep jumping over my words there, don't I? Which is the whole point of these videos. One take, unedited, just so you can kind of grasp me and what my mind goes through and see if you can relate. So but then, because I have this internal fear of change, I think that's something when leaps of faith are massive for me, because they really fight through this steel wall, which is that fear of change. And I think sometimes through having spontaneous acts, and I think that's why I do these spontaneous acts as a rebellious act against the resistance, against this fear of change. And I think I need to kind of be okay with what I have now, but make necessary plans, let's say, in the present for what will ultimately lead on to my future. And not just think about that final goal. The final goal is there, and it will be there regardless. I just need to hit these steps on the way. So, I hope that makes sense. The point being okay with what we have, but also battling through this struggle and this fear of change. Change is massive. Change is everything. Change is something that can bring about our future goals and prospects, should we take that leap of faith and be okay with what we have now to move forward into what we want next. I hope that makes sense, and kept it to 10 minutes. Spot on, brilliant. And I hope to make another video next week, maybe. We'll see. Speak soon.